Hi everyone, I'm Michael.
And I'm Patrick, and you're watching another episode of Star Wars News and Views. Today we're talking about J.J. Abrams directing Star Wars Episode 9.
Wow.
Apparently, according to Latino Review, he's going to bookend the series and direct Episode 7 and Episode 9. Accordingly, Disney wanted to sort of see the footage of Episode 7 first before they signed him on for Episode 9. That would make sense why they got a separate director, Rian Johnson, to direct Episode 8 in the meantime, just in case sort of they looked at the footage.
If he blew it and they don't want to commit to him right away.
Yeah, and they would have had to have scheduled the director for Episode 8 already at this point because it's coming out, they're going to start filming pretty soon and production on it. But they have a long time before Episode 9 starts to go into production, so they can kind of see what Episode 7 turns out to be, and then decide whether they want it back for Episode 9.
Yeah. That does make a lot of sense. Latino Review, we've talked about them a lot of times. They've had a lot of Star Wars rumors, and they're hit and miss, but they're somewhat reliable. They do have a lot of inside scoops.
Some which might be fake, apparently.
Yeah. My first reaction, though, has been this is probably... I hope this doesn't happen. Not because I have anything about J.J. Abrams. I think he's going to do a good job on Episode 7. But it just would be weird. Why doesn't he just do all three? Why go away for that second one? But the reasoning makes sense. I think the impression that I got was that they were trying to do it like the original trilogy, where each film was directed by a different director, and I kind of like that. J.J. Abrams is still producing all of them, so kind of like how George Lucas produced all three, so you still have that sort of consistency, but then each director gave a little bit of their own spin on it, and personally I would prefer that, and I think J.J. Abrams wants to direct Episode 9, so I'm sure he's campaigning for it.
Yeah, he's probably adamant. He's a huge Star Wars fan himself. So.
And I'm sure Disney is listening to him saying, oh, maybe this would be a good idea. So, if it happens, I'm not really going to be upset because I'm sure Episode 7 will be pretty good. Personally, I would prefer to have a third guy take the helm for Episode 9 just for variety's sake. But I guess at the same time, we're going to be getting all these spin-offs, and that will be where the variety gets in.
Yeah, especially because the spin-offs are going to be completely different side stories anyways, so you don't have to you won't have J.J. Abrams producing them as much and have as much of a heavy hand over the whole thing, right?
Yeah. The other thing that would be kind of unfortunate is if Episode 7 comes out and it's good but kind of disappointing, and then Episode 8 comes out by Rian Johnson and it's amazing, and then
it's back to J.J. Abrams again. Yeah. Here we go.
So I don't know if it happens, I won't really be disappointed. If it doesn't happen, I'm fine with that too. So interesting rumor. I think there's probably some truth to it in the fact that they're probably discussing this as a possibility.
It's a very safe move for Disney to do to make sure that they get the trilogy the way that they want it, or the most profitable and everything. I think if there's a possibility that he's going to direct it, we won't find out until at least that comes out for sure.
So maybe they're kind of negotiating it, but they're well, let's actually just see how your film does before we give you this.
Yeah, a huge component of who they choose is based on fans, right? I'm sure they chose J.J. Abrams because he saw what he did to Star Trek, and a lot of people ended up liking it, and they want to base it more off of fan.
Well, actually, a lot of fans hate the J.J. Abrams, but it introduced Star Trek to a whole new generation. And a lot of younger fans that never watched Star Trek were like, "Oh, this is great! I didn't think I'd be a Star Trek fan."
Yeah.
So I guess that's all we have to say about this topic.
Who would you choose as another director for Star Wars?
For Episode 9?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I always thought Steven Spielberg would make a really good Star Wars film, but he's gone on record saying he'll never do that because George Lucas is not involved, and you feel like he's stepping on his toes. One thing that's interesting is Joe Johnston, the designer of one of the designers of Empire Strikes Back. He designed Boba Fett. He's actually a director now, and he made that movie, The Rocketeer.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that would be an interesting choice. I don't know. I think it's good when they get directors like Gareth Edwards and Rian Johnson. It's not your first choice, but then you think about it, you're like, oh, that's actually, I can see that working.
Yeah. I can see that. I don't really know if I'd have a particular strong opinion on who I would pick, because I'm not really sure. Every director you would choose based off of previous movies that he's done or something similar to it, and if I chose somebody this wouldn't be my first choice, but as an example, Christopher Nolan, he'd do an amazing job making movies, but I don't know if he'd fit Star Wars particularly well.
Yeah, I think he's a bit too serious. Maybe I'm not sure what the quality you'd say.
Why so serious?
Why so serious? Yeah. Definitely not M. Night Shyamalan though.
No, he's destroyed one franchise. Doesn't he destroy a second one?
Yeah. Wait, what franchise did he destroy? Oh,
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
See, I forgot that movie existed.
Good. I hope that you did.
Yeah.
I did. I tried to too.
Watch the show. It's good. If you saw the movie, it's yeah.
It's
anyway, though, leave us your feedback. Who would you choose to direct episode 9? And are you guys cool with J.J. Abrams coming back? I know it's hard to judge because the movie's not out.
Yeah. Joss Whedon, he'd be pretty good.
Joss Whedon, yeah, that would be a very safe bet. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and leave us your feedback, and we'll see you next episode.